Chapter 14. Apple, he chuckles. Is this what you gave her? What? I say defensively, running to catch up next to him. Grandma said to buy tobacco, so that's what I did. Peering into the bag again, Junior is barely able to speak through his laughter. Apple, this is Nicorette. You know, gum people take to stop smoking? Oh, I just grabbed the first thing I saw in the tobacco aisle at Dan's. Then, recalling my encounter with Carl, the words tumble out. And he and his boys scared me because Carl said I owed him something and to give him money. Big breath. And then I asked him some weird question. Soon I was leaning against the truck. I've lost my strength. Everyone is now on the dirt driveway. All turn their eyes to me when they hear Carl's name mentioned. My girl, come here, Grandma whispers. Now don't you go worrying about Carl. He's all talk. I knew he would cause some trouble, Junior shouts, with Auntie quickly patting his shoulder. Trying to calm him down, she adds, Let's not get too worked up over Carl. Sensing something more was going on, I ask, But why would some Indian guy I don't even know be like that? Why did he and his boys stop me at the store? Letting out a sigh, Grandma begins. Well, my girl, Carl's family lived next to us when your mom was younger. Oh, he was crazy about your ma. I guess in love with her. Came from a good family. They'd help anyone in a pinch. Carl, though, he was different. He was always trying to scam people out of their money. He never wanted to work for his money. Your mom just always turned Carl down when he'd ask her out in high school. She would talk to him, sometimes even try and help him out with schoolwork. He would try anything, music, poems, building things for her, hoping that they might help win her. Now I'm more confused than ever. But what does any of this have to do with me? My back is to all of them. I don't want to face them. Partly because I'm sobbing, mostly because snot is running down my face. Don't you know? They all ask incredulously. Auntie is the first to answer. Apple, have you seen pictures of your ma? Maybe the ones in that hallway at your Kukum's house, your grandma's house? Look especially at her high school graduation picture. It's like you're a perfect copy, isn't it? She looks to everyone. My head is swimming with images of anti-smoking commercials, my mom, birds' nests, and someone named in it. Confusion doesn't even start to explain how I'm feeling. I did see that picture, right, Grandma? That one with my mom and the redhead? I ask, turning toward her. But my mother was beautiful. Well, look at me. All I see when I look down is my tears mingling with the dirt, making a muddy pool. It's so hard for a beautiful soul to truly see how others see them. But, my girl, you are beautiful. And the fact that you don't know it makes it all the more true. Grandma says gently, pulling me into her with a hug. Junior calms a bit and chimes in. So you can see why Carl was shocked to see you. You're the spittin' image of her. I guess some guys never get over their first love. Don't worry about him doing something to harm you. I'll take care of him. You're just a reminder of what he could never have. So, this is what it feels like to have family. This is what it feels like to be loved. Even so, Carl is still a creeper. Before leaving, there's still one more thing that's bothering me, and I have a feeling that Auntie Over is just the person to help. It's about my weird habit. You know the one. The one where I have to say some odd thing of which it never makes sense to me. It's funny, though, because it really isn't happening up here in the Turtle Mountains at all. Well, I guess there was that one time I asked Carl how many albums Barry Manilow has out. Whenever this mouth diarrhea occurs, the things I say never make sense to me. Yet, I always see a glimmer of recognition amid the indignation from its recipient. Auntie is sort of odd, just outside the realm of normalcy, to maybe shed some light on it. Birds of a feather flock together, I guess. Just please tell me if I ever get anything more than a Kool-Aid mustache 50 years from now, or even next Thursday. Following her as she walks back to the house, I ask, So there's sort of this other thing I was wondering about. Wondering if maybe you know what's going on with me when I... Patting me on the back as he tries to maneuver around us, Junior says, Spit it out there, Apple. Auntie's show is coming on, and if she misses her Wheel of Fortune fix, she somehow thinks Pat Sajak will die. I don't tink. I know something'll happen to my Pat. I still can't believe he turned me down and hired that Vanna girl, Auntie says with a wink. I opened my mouth to ask how she almost replaced Vanna White, but quickly cut that thought short as Grandpa walks up the porch steps and shakes his head, letting me know not to go there. So, I begin, still in the doorway, holding the screen open. Here's the thing. I have this habit. Well, not a habit in the good sense, a habit in a way that I don't understand. Auntie isn't quite looking at me. She walks back in the house and sits in her chair across the entry, focused on the TV and her show. I continue while holding the screen door open. Sometimes when I meet people, I have this image in my head. I never understand what it means, but then I seem to blurt out a question related somehow to that image. It never seems to go over too well. Auntie doesn't hear me at first. I start to tell her again, but before I can finish, she puts her hand up in a stopping gesture. She grabs the remote and clicks the TV off as she rises from her chair. Finally, I'm going to get some answers to my long-awaited questions. This is it. Auntie will tell me what all this means. I'm wrong. While she crosses the room, her face falls. Exhaling loudly, she takes the screen door from my hand and says quietly, Apple, this is not the time for more questions. I gave you the answers for your dreams. Today's troubles are enough for today. You go home now and visit again, my girl. Pat gets jealous, don't you know, if I'm gone too long. And with a quick sniff of my hair and a pat on my cheek, she quietly closes the door, crosses the room, returning to her chair and TV, and to Pat Sajak, Wheel of Fortune. To my utter embarrassment, Junior witnessed the whole thing. My total shutdown from Auntie, but he was kind enough to say nothing, only reached out and gently grabbed my elbow to guide me back to the truck. I'm not sure what everyone is talking about on the ride home. I don't remember what scenery passed outside my window. I don't notice little Nezzy cradle my hand in hers, but I'm aware of being there again. Not quite a piece of here nor there, but hovering somewhere in between, in the dreaded middle again. One thing I need to know is why Auntie keeps calling Junior and me in it. With my hand still interlocked with Nezzy's and her sleeping peacefully against my shoulder, I whisper to Junior, Who's in it? What? What do you mean, Apple? He asks quietly, so as not to wake Nezzy. In it, you know. Auntie kept calling us that. Sometimes you say it too. Oh, is it some kind of word in the Machif language? Shaking his head, he rolls his eyes. Apple, you do know that she was saying isn't it, or ain't it. They just sort of roll it together up here into Turtle Mountains, and it comes out in it. Okay, so how was I supposed to know? I yell a bit too loud and Nezzy stirs. My little cuddle partner chuckles as she drifts off to sleep, saying, In it? A person? Apple, you're so silly. Face red. Me, again, embarrassed. But then this little girl calms my heart as she pats my leg. I lean over and sniff her hair. It's a mixture of crayon and dandelions. Maybe that is the smell of youth. Best friend. She pats my arm and says just loud enough for me to hear as she leans against me, drifting off to sleep in the truck seat next to me. That's all she says. 2 words. And they mean the world to me. I've never had a best friend before. I've never had someone who loved me no matter what stupid things I said. I've never had someone who would look past my exterior and into my heart. But I have one now. Later that night, as I'm getting ready for bed, I empty my pockets. I feel something soft in one of my sweatshirt pockets and pull it out. A feather? Nothing grand or beautiful about it, but a soft, downy feather. Maybe from a sparrow? I took my sweatshirt off after the septic situation, and I had it hung over the back porch railing back at Grandma and Grandpa's house. Someone, anyone, could have had access to it. It's the porch closest to the alley that Carl drives through each morning. Why would he do this? What does the feather mean? I'm a bird brain, a cuckoo? Or maybe a warning that if he catches me, he'll tar and feather me. It is a warning, isn't it? I add it to the growing collection of things, or warnings, a jar of dirt, some sage, a few June berries I found on the front porch last week, and now a feather. Not sure why someone is giving them to me, and not sure if I should be leery of them or like them.